All right, the new school year is here, and you know what that means. The kids might be asking for new tech. And the big one, of course, is often their very first phone. If you're a parent trying to figure this all out, you know it's a huge decision. So today, we're going to break down a really practical way to think about it, to help you figure out if your child, and hey, your whole family, is actually ready. Okay, let's get into it. And let's just get this out of the way right up front. If you're feeling anxious about this, you are not alone. That feeling is completely valid. A phone, it's a gateway to independence, to social connection, which is awesome, right? But it's also a portal to, well, the entire internet, social media, and a whole universe of distractions. It is the definition of a mixed blessing. So it can feel totally overwhelming, but it really doesn't have to be. Instead of getting stuck on a simple yes or no, let's break it down. We can look at this through three key lenses. First, your child's readiness, then your family's readiness, and finally, what the real need for the device actually is. First up, let's talk about your child. And I want to be clear, this is not just about their age, it's really about their personal maturity, emotionally and socially. And this is the bedrock question, right? A phone is an expensive, powerful little piece of technology. So before you even start worrying about the digital side of things, just think about how they handle their responsibilities in the good old physical world. So what does that actually look like in day-to-day life? Think about it. Do they generally keep track of their stuff? Like their jacket or their house keys? Do they follow the rules you already have for other devices in the house? These are the little real-world clues that tell you whether they're ready to handle something as big as a phone. Okay, now let's talk about something absolutely crucial, impulse control, because a phone just amplifies everything. If your kid tends to act before they think, well, a phone gives them a super fast tool to text or post something they could regret almost instantly. The real question is, can you trust their judgment when you're not looking over their shoulder? It's all about making good decisions, even when that little notification is practically screaming for their attention. And it's not just about responsibility, right? Are they socially ready for this? Communicating through a screen is, well, it's tricky. You lose all those cues you get in person, body language, tone of voice, all of it. Have you had those conversations with them yet? About social drama, what happens at online arguments, or what they should do if a stranger contacts them? And here is something really powerful to keep in your back pocket, especially if you're hearing that classic line, "But mom, dad, everyone else has one." It turns out some teens who get smartphones early, they actually regret it. Yeah, they find that the constant distractions and all the social pressure, it's more than they bargained for. That's a pretty interesting perspective to share, isn't it?
All right, let's shift gears for a minute. Because this decision isn't just about your child. It's also about you and your family's habits, your values. The question is, are you ready for this?
See, when you hand your child a phone, your role changes. You're not just the provider of the phone. You become their digital mentor. And what that really means is you're signing up for ongoing conversations about their life online, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It takes time, it takes being interested, and it means being willing to guide them through a world that, let's be honest, can be really complex and sometimes not so kind.
And a huge part of being a good mentor is just modeling the behavior you want to see. Our kids learn from what we do, not just from what we say. If we lay down the law, no phones at dinner, but then we're checking our work emails, the lesson they really learn is pretty darn clear. Our habits have a funny way of becoming their habits.
So the key takeaway here is collaboration. If you do decide to move forward with a phone, don't just spring a bunch of rules on them. Sit down together. Set up the parental controls and timers as a team. When you explain the why behind the limits, that it's all about their safety and well-being, it helps build understanding and respect. And that's way better than just building resentment, right? Okay, on to our final section. Let's get right to the heart of the request itself and talk about the fact that this is not an all-or-nothing decision. You have options. I want you to take a second and really unpack the why behind the phone request. Is there a genuine practical need, like coordinating carpools from after-school activities, or maybe traveling between two homes? Or is it mostly being driven by a social want, the fear of missing out, or that everyone has one pressure? Just being honest about this one thing can really clarify what kind of device, if any, is the right choice. And this is so important to remember. You do not have to jump straight to a top-of-the-line smartphone. If the real need is just basic communication, a simple phone or even a watch can be a fantastic first step. You can meet some of those social needs at home on a supervised tablet. This kind of phased approach lets your child grow into the responsibility, instead of having it all thrown at them at once. So, after you've thought through all of this, your child's readiness, your family's readiness, the need versus the want, how do you make the final call? Well, the answer is that it's a completely personal decision. It's one that reflects your child's unique personality and, just as importantly, your family's values.
And please, remember this. Giving your child a phone isn't the finish line. It's really the starting pistol. This is the beginning of an ongoing conversation. Technology is always changing, your kid is always maturing, and that dialogue about how to use these powerful tools wisely, well, that's going to need to continue for years to come.
And that really leaves us with this final, crucial question to think about. Before you make any decision, take some time with this. What does being a responsible digital citizen actually mean for your family? Defining your family's values around technology, that's what will give you a North Star to guide you, not just for this choice, but for all the digital decisions that are still down the road.